Recording in progress.
Welcome in to the latest episode of the Betting the Pitch podcast. I'm your host, real_G Warner. We are going through the English Premier League, Spanish La Liga, Italian Serie A, France's League, and the German Bundesliga on tonight's episode. We're going to try to come out with the best bet to win again. We're a 3-0 start off to this season. I'm still catching up on plenty of results ultimately, but I'm going to go through each of the available betting lines for Saturday, Sunday, and Monday cards across the top 5 European soccer leagues. Sorry to the Eredivisie in Holland, not yet covering that one. But I appreciate any of you that are here live. Let me make sure I retweet this on the podcast page because I know that some people follow that. And I thank you for subscribing there. It's called The Pitch Betting on Twitter. I'm going to definitely shout out some new subscribers on YouTube. Thank you so much for doing that. I wish I had a way to do that on Spotify/Apple, but I don't know that they really tell me those sort of things. But anyway, thanks for all the support. And of course, let's just try to find some winners, I guess. So we're going to start in the English Premier League because that's where the money is. And any questions that you have, feel free to send them through. If you're not watching live, go to where do you go to? Well, I guess wherever you're listening to this podcast, watching it live. I'm sorry that I look the way I do, but it's the best I can do at this point. If you are on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify, if you can leave a 5-star review, it's huge for the search rankings. If you are on YouTube, please hit subscribe. Same thing. If you're looking or watching the 1-minute video on on YouTube or on Instagram, it's all at the real_G Warner on all those platforms. So we'll start in a big Merseyside derby. This time, Liverpool are the hosts, so we're not going to see the second version of Goodison Park or whatever the heck they're calling the new stadium today. We'll start with Liverpool, 1.25 goal favorites right now to Everton. All the juice on Everton away. Total is 3, juice all the way to under. So Liverpool off of Champions League midweek. Everton not playing anything because they haven't made Europe since I can remember. And I feel like Liverpool won the English Premier League last season through a lot of smoke and mirrors or other bad teams in the country. It's a little different here. Everton have scored a little bit more this year than I expected. I still think they are, to David Moyes' point, that they don't go on the road to entertain. So I expect a low-scoring game with a lot of vicious physical tackles, physical play. Certainly Everton's back line and goalkeeper are made for that. So my biggest interest here, rather than playing Everton as a 1.25 underdog away from home, I think I'm most interested in under 3. We'll next move to West Ham United hosting Crystal Palace. Currently West Ham quarter-goal underdogs with all the juice. Totals 2.5, juice all the way to under. Now, Crystal Palace are pretty expensive considering they sold Eberechi Eze and others heading into this season. And West Ham, I mean, a year ago, 2 years ago, this number would be way different. But West Ham have kind of gone the other way. Crystal Palace have been on the uptick, I guess. For those reasons, I think I'm most interested in the home underdog. This is a rivalry somewhat. East London for West Ham. Crystal Palace, I think, are more South London, if I'm not mistaken. But they consider themselves rivals. I think Crystal Palace is their biggest rival is really Brighton, which I think is more South, but and not considered London at all. Don't want anyone to get mad at me. But anyway, I think there's some value here on the home team, West Ham United. I don't like what I've seen from them under Graham Potter, but I do like them playing a low-scoring game. So under 2.5 is also on my list. We'll move next to Wolves hosting Leeds, and the juice is split on this one right now. Pick 'em. So a lot of respect for Leeds, newly promoted side. They've certainly gotten off to a better start to the English Premier League campaign. But they are a promoted side. Let's not forget that. Still have a lot of players from their championship side. Didn't really strengthen the squad too much. I guess they had planned they'd add all these players when they were in the Premier League years ago, finally got back after a long time, and then kind of held on to everybody in their climb back. But yeah, pretty much Wolves is clearly worse than Leeds on a neutral, according to the English Premier League betting market. Total in this one's 2.25, juice very heavily to under. I don't really see a lot of goals in this matchup unless it's unfortunately Wolves breaking it down. I don't know. Wolves were in danger of being relegated last season, but the promoted sides were so bad that probably explained why they are still here. And maybe there's some value on the road team, but not a pick 'em for me. So I'll lean under 2.25 is my strongest one in that one. Move next to Brighton hosting Tottenham. Currently Brighton quarter goal favorites right now at home. All the juice on Tottenham away. Total is 2.75, juice more to the over. Tottenham playing in Champions League. No way did they deserve to because they didn't finish anywhere near the top of the table in the Premier League. I think they were 16th or 15th, depending whichever or the other one Manchester United was, but Brighton, I'm waiting for them to fall to a pick 'em. That's what I'm waiting for. It will be probably expensive in the 10 a.m. Eastern time window here in the United States tomorrow. It's not a long time till then, but I'm hoping some Tottenham money hits. Until then, I don't have much to play on this game. Burnley then hosts Nottingham Forest. Currently, Burnley quarter goal underdogs at home. Almost all the juice on Nottingham Forest away. Totals 2.5. Juice pretty heavily to under. So Burnley, newly promoted side. You could argue they're not great. Crowd support's okay. But Nottingham Forest, I think, are in shambles. Didn't like what I saw from the Ange Postecoglou side on their trip to Arsenal. Yes, he was only there a couple days, but I'm really curious to see if Ange Ball is going to be back because he's certainly not going to have the talent he did at Tottenham, and they were still finishing 15th and 16th position, whichever one that was. And I want to be against that, especially as a road favorite. I think that's ridiculous. So Burnley quarter goal underdogs I like, and I'll lean to under 2.5, but not as strong to the home dog. Moving next to Manchester United hosting Chelsea, coming off their Champions League trip to Bayern München. Manchester United are pick 'em at home. Almost all the juice on Chelsea. Total is 3. Just a little bit more to under. I'm interested in the Chelsea side, though I don't really play road pick. I guess I'll play road pick 'em, but won't certainly lay anything as I don't play favorites in the sport. As many of you are frustrated. Holla at Joe Dalla, longtime Patreon subscriber, patreon.com/real_G Warner. In case you haven't been following me already, baseball's been really good lately. I highly suggest getting in before the playoff starts. And the NFL has been a good start there too. But from I guess in this perspective, I'll lean to Chelsea at pick'em. I certainly don't want to pay more juice than them. I want them to be an underdog. It doesn't look like they'll be there. To the nightcap on Saturday, Fulham, half a goal favorites right now at home to Brentford. Total is 2.5. Juice pretty heavily to under and very heavily on the Brentford side. Brentford are trying to figure out life after Thomas Frank, after selling Mark Flecken, who's been horrible for Bayer Leverkusen in Germany, but after he returned to Germany from his old Sport Club Freiburg days. I don't know that Fulham, I mean, they got so screwed by the officiating. Of course, PGMOL, what a joke. But maybe the worst, especially with VAR. Incredible that they still make so many mistakes, but that's not what this podcast is about. And I could talk about it for a year. I like Brentford getting a half of a goal. I think that's too big of a price. Fulham's offense is good. They're a talented team, but I feel like it's just too expensive right now. It's very juiced at the moment on Brentford. We'll see what happens in the nightcap on Saturday evening and where the juice moves before that kicks off. Moving to Sunday, Bournemouth, quarter goal favorites right now at home to Newcastle, coming off their Champions League match at home to Barcelona. Totals 2.5, juice all the way to over. Newcastle have climbed from a pick'em to a quarter goal underdog, and that's the side I'd be most interested in, though I'm very concerned about a pretty quick turnaround from Champions League, I believe on Thursday, to then playing an early match on Sunday. That's a quick turnaround. They haven't played any Europe well, I guess they're in Champions League. Was it last season? Maybe 2 seasons ago. But they've certainly made a lot of changes to their side. Bournemouth have been a really good team, and I think one that I'm a little bit scared of fading, but I feel like based on the price moving to quarter goal underdog on a very good Newcastle Champions League side, that's my interest for now, though I don't know it'll make it to the card on Sunday. Sunderland then hosts Aston Villa. Currently Sunderland quarter goal underdog right now. All the juice on Villa away, totals 2.25, and it's juice more to the under. This feels like if you've been watching Aston Villa this season, no way should they be a favorite anywhere, especially not away from home. Sunderland are newly promoted, so it makes sense, but I lean to under 2.25 because I don't think Aston Villa is going to score much, and I lean to the home underdog, of course, especially if we get to half goal. It looks like we might head there based on the juice. Arsenal then hosts Manchester City in the nightcap, the big one on Sunday, and Arsenal half a goal favorite right now with all the juice at home. Totals 2.75, juice very heavily to under. Both played Champions League midweek. I don't trust Manchester City as far as I can throw them right now. I'm not really interested in playing much or having much to do with them so far this season. For my best bet from England, I'm going to go with Burnley, quarter goal underdogs in their home stadium. We'll move next to Spain, the Spanish La Liga. We'll start on Saturday morning with Girona hosting Levante. Currently, Girona half a goal favorite right now, a little bit more juice than Levante away. Totals 2.5, and it's juice more to over. Girona have been disastrous this season. They look like a serious relegation candidate one season after finishing third place in a Champions League slot. I think Levante, though, have plenty of problems themselves. This is not an easy position to play the road underdog, especially newly promoted, but I'm interested there. Lean to under 2.5. I think this is a tight game, and certainly that plays toward under and plays towards the underdog. Real Madrid then hosts Espanyol. Currently Real Madrid 2-goal favorites at home with more juice, totals 3.25. Juice very heavily to over right now. Espanyol have been very good. I mean, they were incredible to close last season, were great to start this year. It was a little awkward them moving to a favorite role fairly recently, but I like them getting 2 goals on the road at Real Madrid. This could get ugly. Unfortunately, Real Madrid Madrid do kill teams at the Bernabeu. They get every call you could ever imagine, and unfortunately, those things do generally lead to penalties and cause big problems. But Espanyol getting a full 2 goals of insurance is enough for me right now. Alaves then hosts Sevilla in the next window. Alaves quarter goal favorites right now at home. Sevilla a little bit more juice. Total is 2, and it's juiced all the way to over. Alaves are a really tough favorite at home. I mean, they're crowd supportive and very useful and builds them up, but finding goals is very hard for them. Carlos Vicente is one of the best players, but if you can keep him quiet, there's a lot of questions the rest of the Alaves side. Sevilla are growing. They're spending. Alfon, a huge signing from Celta de Vigo, could be very good for them this season. I don't know that I trust them to score much. I think I'm more interested in under 2, but also lean to the road underdog, though I think the under is probably more interested to me there. Simultaneous play is Villarreal coming off their Champions League return. They're a 1-goal favorite right now at home to Osasuna. All the juice on Osasuna away totals 2.5, juice all the way to over. Now, Villarreal are great at scoring goals. I'm very concerned, I'll say, especially after a trip to Tottenham in England in Champions League. It was earlier in the week, but still, I'm very concerned about their depth, and they've lost a lot of players recently. Yerba Pino showing up at Crystal Palace, and others gone as well. A lean to Osasuna getting the full goal of insurance. I would probably lean to under, but I don't know that I want to play those Villarreal. They've been scoring goals so much last season and certainly this season as well. Valencia then hosts Athletic Club Bilbao coming off their Champions League debut, first time in a long time. Valencia quarter goal underdogs at home after moving up from Pick'em. Total is 2, just all the way to over. Tons of juice in the home underdog. A lean to the home underdog getting that quarter and lean to under 2, but not sure that I feel that great about it. I want to see the status of Nico Williams. Not sure what's been up with him. Moving to Sunday, Rayo Vallecano, Celta de Vigo. Currently, Rayo, a quarter goal favorite at home, more juice on Celta slightly. Totals 2.25, juice very heavily to over, and that's certainly not the way Rayo play. I mean, they probably deserved a win against Barcelona at home a couple weekends ago. We'll see what Celta de Vigo can do on the road. I lean to them, but it's a really tough place to go to Vallecas, even if the fan base, the ultras are rebelling against the ownership. And I think we get a Rayo Vallecano type style of game. So under 2.25 is always interesting to me, especially if it gets to 2.5. That's gigantic for a Rayo match. Mallorca then hosts Atletico Madrid the next window. We have Mallorca 3/4 goal underdogs at home with almost all the juice. Totals 2.25, do slightly more to under. Atleti coming off of a trip to Liverpool. Great position to play the home underdog. I'll lean to Mallorca getting 3/4. Would love to get a full goal and lean to under 2.25 as well. Elche then hosts Real Oviedo in a battle of newly promoted. Elche half a goal favorites, a little bit more juice on Oviedo away. Total is 2, juice more to the under. Can't do anything but lean to the other promoted side. Elche are going to try to possess the ball. I do feel like that puts them in some trouble, but I think they're going to have trouble breaking down Oviedo. Probably lean to under 2 more than to the side. Barcelona then hosts Getafe in the last matchup of the weekend. Barca 1 3/4 goal favorites with all the juice coming off that road trip to Newcastle. Total is 3, juice almost all the way to over. Getafe are going to try to play a low-scoring game. We've seen Bordalas play in different styles, kind of just trying new things against Barca in the past, just not great and didn't go well. And I've certainly felt the brunt of that before. I'm not sure what happens there, and that probably keeps me away from this game. I just don't know that I want to play unders Barcelona ever until some sort of defense has shown, or I guess, yeah, I'm not really interested in that. But for my best bet in La Liga in Spain, I'll go Real Club Deportivo de Mallorca, 3/4 goal underdogs at home to Atletico Madrid. We'll move now to Serie A in Italy, and I'll make sure to get my computer plugged in because we're about to die. And that would be horrible in the middle of a podcast. But here we are. We're back. And if you are not subscribed to YouTube, do it at @the_real_G Warner, youtube.com/real_G Warner. 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify are very useful to get this podcast in more people's hands or ears. And of course, if you want the reels that I build, do it at @the_real_G Warner on Instagram, plus the shorts on YouTube there too. Just one subscription, you get the full podcast and the 1 minute. We'll start on Saturday in Serie A with Bologna hosting Genoa. Currently Bologna half goal favorites right now, a little bit more juice. Total is 2, juice more to the over. And Genoa, they've just been a hugely defensive team since Patrick Vieira took over as manager early last season. I think we see that same type of mindset. I don't know that I really like Genoa to score away from home, so I'll play under 2 or be more interested there. Verona, 1-goal underdog to Juventus coming off of Champions League. More juice on Verona, totals 2.25, juice more to the under. Verona to me is a full goal. That's hard for me to look away from. I think we see a low-scoring match here as well, even though Juve have been scoring more than anyone would have expected, especially me. Moved to Sunday, or excuse me, the nightcap on Saturday of Udinese hosting Milan. Currently Udinese, a half-goal underdog at home. All the juice on Milan, totals 2.25, juice all the way to over. Now, Milan are in great position. awful start to the season, but they're not playing Europe this year, and that's a huge advantage to them. I think the only thing I'm interested in here is Udinese, a half a goal underdog, but I don't feel very strongly about it. Moving to Sunday, we have the Derby della Capitale, or Lazio hosting Roma. Lazio with all the seats. I don't even know if they give road away seats because it's such a big rivalry because there's guaranteed fights. But I did go to the Stadio Olimpico, and they did have a section for Slavia Prague back in the day, so maybe they do. But it should be a very pro-Lazio crowd, though I expect plenty of Roma supporters to get in there. Roma, maybe for that reason, are favored on the road. Pick them, but all the juice is on the Roma side. Totals 2.25, and she's very heavily to under. I'm a buyer. I'm bullish on Gasperini as manager at Roma this season, but I think Lazio is the only way I could lean. I like their start to the season. I like that they've been pretty disrespected. Be waiting to see them get a quarter of a goal and play under 2.25, as this matchup never has goals. Torino then hosts Atalanta. Currently Torino quarter goal underdog at home. Atalanta quarter goal favorite away. Total is split both ways. Juice on the side is split both ways. Well, I probably should slow down. Total is 2.25. Juice very heavily to under. Torino, I'm interested in, especially because Atalanta had PSG in Champions League midweek. It's not always a guarantee that you want to be against Champions League teams because they spend a lot more money and such, but I'm certainly questioning Atalanta's depth and their new manager. So Torino, quarter goal underdog. I'm interested, also under 2.25. Cremonese then hosts Parma in a battle of recently promoted sides. Cremonese this season, Parma last. Cremonese a pick'em with almost all the juice. Totals 2.25. Juice very heavily to under. I think we see a low scoring game. Parma has been certainly playing that way. I'll be waiting to see them get a quarter goal on the road underdog, but I'll lean to under 2.25 in that matchup. Fiorentina then hosts Como, currently a pick'em. Almost all the juice on Fiorentina, who did not look very good against Napoli last weekend, but they are Scudetto holders. Totals 2.25 in this one, juice pretty heavily to over as well. Como are not an under team, but I do think that Fiorentina are underpriced, so I've been paying to see that. I think Como, they got a lot of love from Serie A in that market last season. I'm not sure they deserve it this year. Inter Milan then hosts Sassuolo, the nightcap on Sunday. Inter 1.75 goal favorites. All the juice on Sassuolo away. Total is 3, just a little bit more to over. And Inter are off to a bad start. They need to avenge that. They had Champions League midweek. That's going to be tough, but Sassuolo seem very naive. I don't know if there's anything I want to play in this one. Until Monday, we move to Napoli hosting Pisa, coming off of their trip to Manchester City. Napoli 1.5 goal favorites with all the juice. Total is 2.5, a little bit more juice to over against this newly promoted side. I think Pisa is going to do their best to keep this low scoring, so I'll lean to under 2.5, but I'm not sure I feel that strongly about it. As for my best bet from Serie A in Italy, I will go with the Lazio Roma under 2.25 goals. We'll move now to Ligue 1 in France, and I'll check to see if I have any comments yet. I don't want to move too far along in case anybody has anything. Where did I lose that all? Let's go right here. All right, no comments yet. Probably all enjoying your Friday nights, and I appreciate that. Hope you are throwing back for me. Pour one out for your boy, if you will, because he's podcasting instead of chasing, whatever. We'll start on Saturday with Nantes hosting Rennes in France's Ligue 1. Nantes, a half of a goal underdog at home with all the juice. Totals 2.5, and it's juiced very heavily to under. I've not been in love with the Nantes new manager. Rennes has come in last season and installed a very good defense, and I expect more of that. A lean to under 2.5, though the home underdog is pretty expensive right now. Stade Brestois then hosts Nice in the northwestern portion of France, if I'm not mistaken. Brest, a pick'em, all the juice on Nice away. Totals 2.75, juice more to the under. I'm a believer in Brest. They've certainly love them, of course, but they've also lost some talent, unfortunately, and the depth that was really built for them to succeed and advance in Champions League in their first Champions League season. I'll lean to Brest at home as a pick'em, but they've not been getting a lot of love there. And the total has been gigantic, so I'll lean to under 2.75. Would love to get a 3, but I'm not sure I want to play many totals with them if they've been seeing a bunch of goals in their matches. Lens then host Lille in a big derby in northern France. Maybe this is northwestern France. I'm not sure exactly where it is, but I know these two teams are rivals. Lens currently a quarter goal favorite at home. All the juice on Lille away. Totals 2.75. Juice very heavily to under here. And Lens have been a great Sang get all the blood and gold, great home team for a while, but the results have not really been there. You don't have to take that from me. It's straight off the broadcast. I heard the other day and looked it up. Lille, as the road underdog, are very expensive, but are more talented and have spent more money in their club and such. And Bruno Genesio has been there and honestly led a really strong Champions League run last season. But this year, Players have moved on. We'll see what that all looks like. I can't help but lean to the road underdog here, and that's probably my biggest interest in that one. Moving to Sunday, FC Paris, pick them to Strasbourg with all the juice on Paris, who continue to get a lot of love. I thought they were not very good against Metz as a big favorite against another promoted side a couple weekends ago, and now they're a big favorite right now to a team playing in Europe. I lean to Strasbourg. I would love to see them as a quarter goal underdog. It probably is that way across the board or in other places. You can probably get it fairly inexpensively. So I'll lean to Strasbourg quarter. Almost dying. Quarter. As I drink something, I'll lean to Strasbourg as a quarter goal underdog on the road in Paris, but not the main one. In the next big window of French matches, we have Angers hosting Toulouse. Currently, Angers, I pick them right now. More juice on Toulouse away. Totals 2.25. Juice all the way to over. Angers can score goals. Toulouse can too. I think under interests are not really are null and void for me in this one. I'll lean to Angers as a home team, though certainly Toulouse a lot more talented. Monaco then hosts Metz. Currently Monaco 1 3/4 goal favorites despite Champions League midweek. More juice slightly on Metz, just 2 cents. It was 3.5. Juice all the way to under. Would love to believe in Metz, but their defense on the road at Paris was disappointing, and certainly when they took a red card, that wasn't great either. I don't know that I want to fade Monaco against a newly promoted side that will probably need to score to compete. Le Havre then hosts Lorient. Currently, Le Havre a quarter goal favorite at home with almost all the juice. Totals 2.5, juice more to the over. Le Havre surprisingly still in Ligue 1 after years and years of surviving at this point. Lorient, a newly promoted who have been there for a while, dropped and then came back. I'll lean to the road team here, getting a quarter of a goal, but it's not a strong one at a half. Certainly more interest, and as it climbs, even more than that. And to the nightcap, a big matchup in France. Two Champions League sides. Marseille, they're home, getting a half of a goal from PSG. Total is 3 on this one, juice pretty heavily to over, and the juice is split both ways. Feels like a pretty cheap price on PSG, so buyer beware of that. PSG did murder Marseille, I feel like, in league play last season, and Marseille are coming off of a Champions League trip to Real Madrid. That's not great, but I do lean to the Marseille side, getting that half of a goal. As for my best bet across France, I will lean to Strasbourg, quarter goal underdogs on the road at Paris. And last but not least, we'll do the German Bundesliga, and then we will get out of here. I just clicked the wrong thing, so let me make sure I have this. Bundesliga, come on, baby. There we go. Okay, we'll start with a big window of matches at 3:30 across Germany, the traditional time, but they've had plenty of kickoffs Friday and, of course, Sunday. Werder Bremen, they host Sport Club Freiburg in a battle of new managers, one getting far better results than the other, and that would be Werder Bremen at home. Quarter goal favorites, all the juice on Freiburg away. Total is 3 in this one, juice very heavily to under. I'm a little bit surprised. Werder Bremen have had a defensive problem, injury issues, and then young players coming in and making big mistakes. But Freiburg have not been playing well, and that's a concern. So I will certainly lean towards the home team here. But I think in general, I'll lean under 3, though I certainly might. Local Freiburg is the one I follow closest in the German Bundesliga. Was running a FIFA 20 franchise career mode, whatever, on YouTube. You could watch my exploits or getting exploited by all these other teams. But I've run out of time doing it, unfortunately. Hamburg then hosts Heidenheim. Currently, Hamburg half a goal favorites. All the juice on Heidenheim away. 2.5 is the total. All the way juiced to over. Hamburg have not looked like a Bundesliga side to me yet. Heidenheim barely stayed in last year through the relegation playoff, but they made it through relegation, and they have been there longer. So I'll lean to Heidenheim getting a half of a goal, and I'll lean probably more strongly under 2.5, though that's not exactly how Heidenheim play because they want to outscore their opponents. Hoffenheim then at home to Bayern München. Currently, Hoffenheim 1 3/4 goal underdogs at home with all the juice. Total is 3 3/4, juice all the way to over. It's a gigantic price, bigger than I expected, especially the Bayern coming off of a Chelsea match in Champions League. I'll lean to TSG Hoffenheim, but I want to get the 2, and I don't have that yet. Augsburg then hosts Mainz. Currently, Augsburg a pick'em, a little bit more juice on Mainz away from home. Totals 2.5, and it's juiced slightly more to over. Augsburg have brought in a very emotional manager who wants to possess the ball, very different than the success Augsburg have had in previous seasons. But Mainz 05, they're fighting in across multiple competitions this year. Now in Conference League, they survived a 2-legged playoff to get in there and survived a early loss to Köln, and then got a late equalizer against Wolfsburg on the road. I do feel like there's a lot of respect for Mainz in the market right now. I'm not sure I believe that they deserve to be a pick'em on the road. Augsburg as a home pick 'em is very interesting to me because that's where they usually get their points. Lean to under 2.5, though certainly Mainz matches tend to see some goals more than you'd want if you're playing under 2.5 because it's pretty low total for the German Bundesliga. We'll move next to the top spiel, the big matchup on Saturday. RB Leipzig, 3-quarter goal favorites at home to Köln. Total is 3, just more to the over, and a lot of juice right now in Leipzig at home. Köln have been great to start the year. I'm not sure how repeatable that is, but they've got a huge crowd, huge fan base, and I'm expecting a lot of tickets in Leipzig. I've been there before for a German match. There's plenty of Hungarian fans, and I'm not sure the Leipzig are going to be that well represented because they've been pretty sluggish to start this season, and have certainly are nowhere near the expectations from previous years. So I lean to FC as a 3-quarter goal underdog. Would certainly love to get the full one. I think we will get that, and it's probably out there in the marketplace. They just have plus money right now in the 3/4. So actually, I'll put down 1 as my biggest interest in that one. I'll lean to under 3 as well. Sunday, we move to Eintracht Frankfurt coming off of their Champions League return. They are hosting Union Berlin as 1-goal favorites, a little bit more juice on the home team. Total is 3, just more to the under, and Union are going to go in, and they're going to kill this game from the start. Lean to that 1-goal underdog and lean to under 3. Move next to Bayer Leverkusen, 1-goal favorites to Borussia Mönchengladbach. A little bit more juice on Leverkusen at home. Totals 3.25, juice all the way to under. Leverkusen, amazing that they moved on from Erik ten Hag after 2 matches when it took Manchester United 2 years or whatever. Got a good result, their first win, but 2, set piece goals from 1 own goal, but I'll still give it to Grimaldo. You can't really expect those. Went down to 9 men. I think it shows Leverkusen are in trouble, but Gladbach haven't scored goals this year, so that's a big concern. I think the total's too big. I think Leverkusen are getting way too much respect. I lean to that 1 full goal underdog and under 3.25. Last but not least, Borussia Dortmund, 1-goal favorites again, as everyone seems to be -1 at home on Sunday in the German Bundesliga. They're 1-goal favorite at home with all the juice to VfL Wolfsburg. Total's 3.25, just a little bit more to over. I think Wolfsburg are going to go in. They've got a ton of money behind them. They should be better this year, but they were so cowardly against Mainz with a lead in their last home match. Different story here, as they should be cowardly on the road at Dortmund. Dortmund coming off of their trip to Juventus in Champions League. It's going to be a tough week for them because they're not as strong as they have been in the past. I lean to Wolfsburg in that full goal of insurance and under 3.25. But it's scary to fade Dortmund, who could score tons of goals in the Signal Iduna Park. Been there before. Sat in the South Stand, the Süd Tribune, and the Yellow Wall. It was an awesome experience. Highly recommend to anyone who has not been there yet. For my best bet from the German Bundesliga, I just don't trust Hamburg to score goals, so I'll go Heidenheim under 2.5 in that Saturday matchup. So that brings us to the end of the show. I want to, of course, get the plugs out there. If you're looking for NFL, American football stuff, if you want college, certainly go to that pregame.com feed as I'm recording podcasts every week with my guy Lante. If you want the national football variety, A_Snicker and I are back for a 3rd consecutive season, going through each of the top 6 games that we're most interested in on the NFL card, recording Tuesday nights as well. That is on this feed, Betting the Pitch, Apple Podcasts, and on Spotify, and at the Real_G Warner on YouTube and on Instagram. We're getting to the ultimate best bet. Want to shout out, that's what I was going to mean to do. Shout out the new subscribers. Thank you to those of you that have come in from the darkness and have entered the light. I really appreciate your support. Any of you that have subscribed, we're now up to 196. We need 1 million more. We'd love to get that. We'll see what that happens. Most recently, Wim Vitens. Probably not pronounced Oh, I command muted it. Jeez, that's not great. Well, hopefully this is a podcast I don't have to do over again. LOL. We'll see. Don't want to do that, but we're 29 minutes in, so hopefully we're here. Thanks for all the shout outs. If you didn't just hear them, I just tried. Vim Vitens, appreciate that. Cedric as well. Thank you for coming in. Cedric Hopi. And please hit me up at @the_G Warner on Instagram, Patreon, Twitter, and on YouTube, anywhere you want if I'm not pronouncing your name right, because that's very important to me. So for the ultimate best bet, I'll summarize. I'll give you my best one that will eventually show up on Instagram.com/real_G Warner and on YouTube at @the_G Warner. From the English Premier League, like Burnley, a quarter goal underdog. In La Liga in Spain, like Mallorca, 3/4 goals underdogs. In Serie A in Italy, I like Lazio under 2.25. In Ligue 1 in France, I like Strasbourg, a quarter goal underdog. And in the German Bundesliga, I like Heidenheim under 2.5 goals. But for the ultimate best bet, we're going Burnley, quarter goal underdogs at home in the English Premier League. We'll see you for next week's Europa League action. I know everyone's into that. For some reason, that does more listens than almost any other podcast I do. I can't really subscribe to it. Please do subscribe to it and leave some 5-star reviews and join patreon.com/real_G Warner. Best spot for all my plays across all sports, including baseball, NFL, everything you could look for. Talk to you all soon.
Recording stopped.